Hello everybody, my name's Brian, and combo decks. Yes, the one of three types of Magic players, Johnny Combo player, Spike, and Timmy, are the cores of competitive Magic, and this is the Johnniest of Johnny Combo decks out there. This deck was recommended by friend of the Chan and Ian, who sent me a list that's almost what you see here. I've done a little bit of tuning, and I'll go over why in a second, but thank you, Ian, for reaching out and sending me this absolutely glorious pile of jank. So, combo decks in general, and this one, which happens to be Dragonstorm. What are we signing up for? Well, the whole idea in a combo in Magic, if you happen to be new, is you do a whole bunch of Rube Goldberg-esque events to then do something really, really cool. And in this case, Storm refers to a mechanic that you see here on Dragonstorm, where for every spell cast before this one, you make a copy of it, and Dragon, as in dragon. So this entire deck is based around rituals, and rituals are things where you pay a certain amount of mana and you get a little bit more back than you put in. So we have Desperate Ritual, we have Vessel of Vitality, and Metamorphose, which is only a ritual if we get into our creatures. So we just want to play a whole bunch of spells and cast Dragonstorm, and the thing that is the difference between this version of Storm and regular Izzet Storm is this only needs a storm count of 1 to win. If you play one other spell and then Dragonstorm, you still win the game. So let's actually go through this now and explain what's going on. If no interest in my overview, there's normally chapters down below. Go ahead and pick out where you wish to start. If the chapters aren't there, give me a comment. I'll go ahead and put them in. So we've already talked about Dragonstorm, which says I get to search my library for a dragon and put it into play. And depending on how many spells I cast this turn, I get to put more dragons into play. And like I said, we really only need a storm count of 2, because all we're trying to do is put in Dragonlord Culligan, which gives all my creatures haste. He says other things, but flying haste, everything has haste is the important part. If we happen to dome somebody for 10, it'll be the first time that it happened. Hasn't happened in any of my testing games. A Tarka World Render. So this is another dragon from Tarkir, which says whenever a dragon attacks, it gets double strike until end of turn. And that's it. We have 2 double striking 6 power creatures, and that's really all we need to do. We also have 2 other dragons in here, the Bogarden Hellkites, a pair of them. They have flash, not very important. Again, we'll be storming them out if they come out, and they deal 5 damage as well. Now, you might say, hey, Brian, there's really no card selection here outside of a handful of Metamorphoses. How do you make sure you get Dragonstorm and the dragons? You don't! This is such a pile of variants that I've actually even made it more glass cannony than the original list handed to me. So generally, turn 1, you want to suspend one of these 0 drops here. It came with 4 Lotus Blooms. I put in 2 Soul Talismans and 1 Mox Tantalite because I felt like they were just more useful than like some of the lands in the deck. And also, we have Ignoble Hierarch as a turn 1 play as well. From there, we want to have a handful of rituals, a handful of Metamorphoses, and hopefully 1 Goblin Arcanomaster to go off, add a little bit of mana, play Ironcrag Feat, and we only need to cast 1 more spell, and that's Dragonstorm, and that's the only plan. There are a couple bolts in here which I don't know will survive all the matches or not. I have more Soul Talismans and more Mox Tantalites I'm really tempted to put in the deck, and you just try and go off. Now here's the thing. Any interaction vaporizes us. If they disrupt our hand, if they start countering our rituals, if they blow up our artifacts, if they blow up a single land, if they kill the goblin, we are so screwed. However, if you're left alone just long enough, you can really go to town. That being said, this is the only deck I've played where people are happy to see it. I played other decks where people across it like kind of giggle. Like when I play ninjas or I play one of my really off-the-wall kind of decks, they kind of go, that's silly. With this, they're like, oh man, is this Dragonstorm? And sometimes they'll just let me win a game. Like they could be playing Murktide and absolutely destroying me. And they have 4 mana up, and I know they have a counterspell, but I play Ironcrag Feat, and I just see in chat, do it. Just do it. They want to see it go off. So many people want to see Dragonstorm work. Now let's talk about the sideboard. Now, the sideboard is not as defensive as I would like it to be. I mean, there's some Shattering Sprees here to stop things like Dampening Sphere and Gravedigger's Cage. There's a couple of Dragon Claws to try and survive against Burn long enough to not die. I put in some defense grids, so hopefully our stuff doesn't get countered. There's a few Dismembers in here to try and stop creatures, and a couple of Leyline in the Voids that I put in as well to try and stop just graveyard things from absolutely running you over. Because Dredge is kind of combo-y as well, and it's just faster than this if we're being honest. But this is an absolutely ridiculous deck. Now, with the Soul Talismans and the Mox Tantalite in here, I might cut the Ignobles and the Lightning Bolts, because I think just getting multiple mana on turn 3 or turn 4 rather, is better than having the Ignoble Hierarch die just immediately, which tends to be what it does. But we're going to go on a journey here. Now, normally, folks, I play about 5 one-on-one matches. I tend not to do a lot of leagues, because sometimes I like to change the deck, and this is one especially I feel like I'm going to have to change before I'm able to go from match to match. I'm also going to tell you if I had a match where I did nothing and I died. There are quite a few instances of me testing, doing nothing wrong, but just dying. It's the nature of this deck. So if that happens, I'll let you know I got dumpstered and we won't show it. Hopefully we get at least 5 games to show off. Maybe we'll only get 3 or 4 that are worth looking at. But hey, let's dive into it. Let's see what's worth looking at. Let's see if we can have some fun. Let's see if some other people enjoy seeing it. Oh man, this deck is just so much fun, and it's so jank, and it's absolutely not tier 1. Let's go ahead and play. Okay, so we lost the die roll, which is unfortunate. Again, going back to my defense of things like Soul Talisman over lands, I feel like having the Soul Talisman in this hand kind of helps. Now, here's the other thing. We really just can't keep mulling until we find the Dragonstorm. Sometimes we just have to hope we find it, but this has the rest of the pieces needed. So we're going to go ahead and keep, and hopefully our opponent is not playing something terribly fast. Oh, is this just Murktide? I feel like this is Murktide. All right, so we draw more lands. So each time that happens, I just feel better and better about not having more lands in my deck. All right, so we'll suspend the Soul Talisman, and we'll try and hope to not draw lands. If we could find a dragon, or if we can find Dragonstorm, that would be great. Consider, yeah, this is looking like Murktide, or is it Ragavan, or whatever you want to call the best deck in Modern right now. We're playing against that. We're playing against the best deck in Modern with haha dragons. All right, our thing starts ticking down. Gotta ice my thing. Yeah. All right, that's unfortunate. We draw an Ignoble Hierarch. Well, I suppose I have to be a little bit fine with you existing. Let's just go get a basic forest. And here comes Ignoble. We still don't have the combo, so we're just setting up trying to get as much mana as possible. If he has another Fire Ice, I'm gonna feel so bad, because then just Ignoble Hierarch dies immediately. But until we can actually get our hands on a Dragonstorm and start having to count up to 9, I'm not terribly worried about it. Expressive Iteration, sure, go off. All right, you'd be passing. All right, Soul Talisman continuing to tick down. Lotus Bloom, well, I hope we don't need that, but we'll go ahead and just start with that. We'll play out Arcanomancer, just Baral, but for red and green. And we'll just go ahead and smack him for 1. I mean, he hasn't played a threat either, and we have a Lightning Bolt, so I mean, playing Drago, they absolutely beat us with a Murktide, but we have dragons too, and hopefully we get to go find them in our deck. But we need to stop drawing lands and land sources is what stop doing. Boo! Okay, well, Goblin Canomancer down. Just passing, so he probably has a handful of counters, which isn't great for us if we're being honest. We can go ahead and get a Blood Crypt now, in case we find Culligan by accident. Certainly don't want to hardcast him, but it's better to hardcast him than to just have him sit in our hand. A whole bunch of things ticking down. Should get a Soul Talisman. Oh, are they gonna counter the Soul Talisman? That'd be so rude. Cast this. I feel like they might counter the Soul Talisman. Oh no, they're fine with it. They are digging the Soul Talisman. Okay, so we have Ironcrag Feet. So we literally have it if we can just find a Dragonstorm. But again, there's no selection in this deck. There's no tutoring in this deck. Mulling until you find Dragonstorm is pretty brutal, because you kind of need a lot of pieces in your hand to make it work. But I mean, hopefully we could just find it, or we could just find a dragon at this point. We have roughly 1 million mana. Petty Theft the Soul Talisman. That's so rude. That's the downside of these suspend artifacts. I mean, we're going to have the Lotus Bloom anyway next turn. So all he's doing is bouncing our Soul Talisman. It's not the worst. If we get Dragonstorm next turn, I might be a little sad if we're off, but let's see what we do here. Another Desperate Ritual. So we got Desperate Rituals for days. We just need to find one of our 4 Dragonstorms, which I'm sure all 4 of them are just in the bottom of the deck right now. Because why wouldn't they be? All right, suspend that and pass. Cool. They got a Brazen Bar, but we have a Lightning Bolt. It's so funny. I have one of those too. There we go. They can even have Spell Pierce because I have 2 open mana. No, we get hit in the face. I don't know if this is just our opponent having like the world's unluckiest hand or like what else could possibly be in their hand right now. I feel like a lot of this is interesting and strange because we have sat here and done quite literally nothing for quite a few turns, but let's see what's up. We got our things going off suspend again. Countering the Lotus Bloom. I mean, you know the guy has counters. Oh man, we're just finding anything other than... All right, so we're about to start doing some math here, because we have 6 dragons at our hits, and then we have 4 Dragonstorms. So we have 10 cards in our deck that could, you know, spook our opponent a bit. But so far, we're finding nothing. And that's again why... I mean, I might be talking to myself right now. Nobody might be seeing this footage because boring, but we'll see. Okay, Brazen Bar, just flashing it out to try and start beating face. So they got a 4-turn clock. All right, kapow. All right, can we find some Dragonstorm action? Even though our opponent's hand is definitely just 3 counter spells under Trenchcoat. Dragon Lord Culligan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can just try and cast this. This is not what we want to do, but like, hey, Ports and Storms. Yep, counterspell. We knew that. I mean, we have to try. We only have 4 more turns, so. Another Brazen Borrower? Electrolyze. Rude. All right, so our turns are swiftly disappearing. If we find Dragonstorm next turn, though, we might be able to just kind of steal it, depending on how they use their counter. Like, they have at least 1 more counterspell in their hand. Everyone needs to be aware of this. And we just die, so womp womp. Okay, so defense grid's in. What do we take out? We could probably take out the Mox Tantalite, because they're just gonna bounce it, apparently. And we could take out 1 Vessel, because we'll also just bounce that. All right, let's try. All right, let's see if being on the play helps. No, I don't think so. I don't think this does enough. Try again. This is worse. This is infinitely worse. All right, well, this is our opening hand, but worse. So we'll just start putting some stuff back. Put an Ironcrag feat back. Put, probably the Ignoble back is not terribly helpful. And again, that's why I said, like, mulling with this deck is just a losing proposition. But, you know, gotta keep hope alive. So let's hope we find the Dragonstorm. If not, oh well. Oh, it just passes. We'll go get a Stomper. Well, that's interesting. I'm even gonna play that. Ahaha, counter this. I mean, they could just petty theft it back to my hand, but I get to surprise them and have them read my card from way back in the day. Always good playing a white bordered card in Modern. Just keep your opponents on their toes. Please just pass. Please just pass. Just pass. Gone and pass. No, they're gonna petty theft it. Their hand has a Brazen Borrower. All right, we draw. A Lightning Bolt. Hey, it's that card that doesn't help. That card that I keep debating getting rid of. There we go. Mr. Canomaster. And we'll just ship. Expressive. So, I mean, the thing is, even if we find a Dragonstorm right now, we're so far off of casting it. Gonna bolt the Canomaster. I mean, you haven't passed, so you clearly have a way to kill it. Oh, consider well. That's not as bad. I mean, this defense grid is forcing our opponent to play fair. But we're at the point where we need everything. We need mana, we need Dragonstorm. When it goes to cleanup, brutal. All right, here comes Lotus Bloom. Answering the question, how powerful is Black Lotus on turn 4? Dragonstorm. Verdant Catacombs. F everything. All right, well, here comes our 10-turn clock. Go, Gobbo. I realize we really can't cast Bolt on their turn, but no reason to hit them at this point. They untap. I mean, I have to assume you set it up so that you can petty theft and then counter the defense grid when I try and bring it back down. Okay, yeah. So we kind of saw that coming. They must have like a spell pierce or something. Go get another stomp. So if we find a mana, it's fine. All right, what do we draw? Vessel of Vitality. That seems like a first spell to throw out to see if it gets countered. We kind of want to turn their counter. I mean, I guess if we really want defense grid, we can keep it, but Vessel of Vitality. See if they bite. Nope. All right. right? They're saving their Spell Pierce for this. And then we have to make a decision if Defense Grid is more important than Lotus Bloom, which it probably is if we're being honest with ourselves, especially now that we have a Vessel. Yeah, this is probably... We'll just go ahead and pass on that note. Because we still have, let's see, 1, 2 turns into 4 into 5. That's 3 turns into 7. So we still have enough mana to go off if we find Dragonstorm, but we could just sit here legitimately all match and never find Dragonstorm. Petty Theft again. Man, Defense Grid is really giving them a run for their money. We find Dragonstorm now, though. We kind of don't need it. Stomping Ground. So we find Bupkiss. First thing we do is just take 2, try and recast this, and just hard counter. I'm picturing just a hard counter spell. Yeah. So they go get an island. And look at me. I'm a mighty wizard. We just smack him again. I mean, we got him to 10. Go, Goblin, go. You're the reason we play this deck. Not any of our dragons that we would have loved to cast while our opponents tapped out. None of that. No, no, no. All right, now they're just going to do things at instant speed, which is fine. Okay, can we still do this? So 2 turns into 4. 4 minus 3 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, we totally can. So let's actually not crack Vessel first. Let's try and just Ironcrag Feet. Because if they let that go, we just win. But if they counter that, then fart noises. Oh, well then. Dragonstorm? You counter both instances of Dragonstorm is question. Please just play out a Brazen Bar. Archmage Charm. Okay. They counter one instance of Dragonstorm, which is fine. So we go get a Tarka is what we want right now. Or no, we want Culligan. We want Culligan and we want them to play out a Brazen Borrower, and we want to bolt one of their borrowers as they try and save the other one. So we let this mana go because we don't really need it. At the same time, if they ever tap out, we can just try and bolt them, but I feel like they definitely have a Spell Pierce in their hands, so there's no reason to just try and get them with the Lightning Bolt unless they completely tap out. Opponent seems to be doing some math here. Probably seeing what's going on. Wait, where were the storm triggers? You countered them? Our opponent is asking where the storm triggers were when they countered the storm trigger. Our opponent seems to be a little confused. All right, our opponent goes to 2. It's not worth it to Lightning Bolt. Remember, we had a mana floating, so they couldn't just Spell Pierce our other instance of Dragonstorm. So now they either need to wipe away both our creatures or... Oh, no, we got it. Okay, so we got to win. Hey, you'll be seeing this match. Snapcasters, Flusterstorms. Wait, they had a Flusterstorm? That's so confusing. Okay, interesting. I suppose he was so confused because what he meant was he wanted to counter the storm copies. So he countered it and he was waiting for the Flusterstorm to come out. But because he didn't do that, my Dragonstorm happened. So it seems like he was just confused as to the timing, and we got a technical W with timing, and a technical W is the best kind of W. So our boy is just on Countertron 5000. I don't think there's much else we want to do other than, like, wish we had 4 defense grids in our deck. So let's just try this again. All right, here we have an unkeepable hand with no mana. So Molly. No. Let's do some math here, because I know what you're thinking, and it's what you thought. So we play Verdant Catacombs, we suspend Lotus Bloom, we put Culligan back, and we need to draw into pretty much everything, because if we don't draw mana, we just die. But do we really want to throw back let's hope we just draw mana. So put this back. I mean, this isn't against the odds deck anyway. I feel like the 1 Verdant Catacombs, 1 Lotus Bloom hand is fine. All right, did they just play it tapped? No, they play it open. So they have some sort of Lightning Bolt. Wooded Foothills. See, and you guys were worried. So Verdant Catacombs into Stomping Ground. So we did everything in our power. Playing against a guy whose nemesis is Dragonstorm. So there's that. All right, another Scalding Tarn. So they have counterspell mana now. They can counter as much as they want. We need to find like a Gabo or just more Desperate Rituals. I suppose that's also not bad. So here's the thing about my opponent's hand full of counterspells. All right, so they do that. They just have a deck full of counters and will playing combo, which is probably the worst possible matchup we could be up against. Oop, nope, wrong one. Brian, what do you mean these manas look the same because most of the land artwork is pretty homogeneous? That's not a thing. You're silly. That's silly. Another Stomping Ground's fine. All right, so drawing more land is fine. Drawing Defense Grid would be ideal. Still got one more turn on the Lotus Bloom anyway. So land or Gabo would be the best thing. Oh, you hate to see it. Dragon Lord Culligan. So now we do nothing because 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we can't even like ritual that guy out. So when you draw one of the dragons, it's not good because then if you draw the other dragon, your combo doesn't work anymore. And we don't play more than 2 of each dragon. So the thing is, we really want those in our deck. And the other thing is I guess our other Dragon Lord Culligan was at the bottom of our deck until we started shuffling. So there's a chance, you know. All right, we draw. First, we play a Lotus Bloom that's probably getting countered because our opponent doesn't want us to have mana. All right, we draw. Oh no, they let it go. So it seems like they're Manamorphose. I mean, we kind of need the land drop, so let's just Manamorphose because holding these in our hands isn't going to do us any favors anyway. Red, black, Wooded Foothills, play Wooded Foothills. Do we keep going? Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's not 9. And I don't think he lets us just go off anyway. We could dig 4 more mana. I guess there's nothing stopping us from doing that. Because we're going to draw what's on top of our deck anyway. Now we're just drawing it a little bit sooner. Vessel of Volatility. Okay, let's just Manamorphose the last time. Because we actually don't need our storm count to be that high. And if they're playing Flusterstorm, it doesn't matter anyway. Manamorphose again. Cool. So Manamorphose. Okie dokie. Last go at it. Goblin Arcanomancer. Well, funny you should say that. So we have to go get a Stomper. I guess we don't have to get a Stomper. We can go get a basic Forest, which is probably fine. Cast this thing out. I mean, again, dude's deck plays roughly 1,000 counters, so I don't expect this to... Okay. Okay, here's the thing. So 2, 4, 3, 5, 7, 8. That now costs 8. We can just try and Dragonstorm. I mean, if he has the Flusterstorm, we lose. But if he doesn't have the Flusterstorm, we win, and I don't think we get a better shot. So let's just try it. So cast, cool, manners, cast, mana, cast. You could also just counter this, or not. Boom, we have a whole bunch of mana. Please do not have Flusterstorm. Flusterstorm just negates all the storming we did. No, buddy, you're doing it too early. Don't do it. No! Too soon. You have to let them go on the stack. Okay, he did have the Flusterstorm, but okay, so here's how Storm works. We're learning so much today. So he had to have let the Flusters go on, or the Dragonstorms go on the stack, and then do the Flusterstorms. So the triggered ability is on the stack, and the triggered ability is Storm. So he gets to have all of these things that counter the Dragonstorms. However, too soon. If they all like came out like when you win at Solitaire, that's when you want to play Flusterstorm. So our boy had it, but he punted it. I have to let the first one go through. No, the copies go on the stack before the first one. So they go on the stack all at once, and before one resolves, then you counter. Come to Dorkator for Storm lessons on how it works in Beth's arithmetic of counting to 9. I mean, this could also be a really fun slow. If he has a second Flusterstorm, or if he has a Snapcaster, he could just do it anyway. Yeah. So here are all the copies on the stack, and he just targets my one Dragonstorm, which, you know, not paying it because there's like 9 other copies countering Dragonstorm. So no, I'm good, man. No. Okay. Now we have to resolve all of these. Yeah, these just all resolve. Oh no, our opponent just scoops it up. So, boy, that's technically, I guess we leave that one in because we won, technically, but our opponent had to punt into the sun. So, happens to the best of us, happens to me, happens to men better than me. Let's go for number 2. I was not expecting to win. Okie dokie then. All right. We have lost a die roll. Shock and awe. All right, so we have an Atarka, which isn't great, but we have Ironcrag Feat, and we have Arcanomaster. I say we keep this and we just try and power out the Atarka. Does our opponent have Hand Disruption? Boy, does combo not like Hand Disruption. Oh no. Don't do it. Don't. No. Stop, please. Well... Probably the Goblin is the smartest thing to get rid of because it saves us the most. I mean, first of all, he's going to be very confused when he looks at his hand. Our opponent is more than welcome to just look at this nonsense and go, what are you doing? But Oh, oh no. Let's see what their thought process here is. I wonder if the sideboard should have some ley lines of sanctity that I can't get hand disrupted. I mean, I don't think the sideboard has room for more than 2. Okay, they did end up taking the Gobbo. So we still have a turn 1 play in Soul Talisman. So I'm still happy that's not a land. Oh no, we're just gonna draw the dragons? That's awful. Well, so do we bank on Atarka or Culligan now? Because Atarka like deals a whole bunch of damage, but I guess Dragonlord Culligan deals the same amount of damage in the same amount of time. It's one of those things where like, do we use the Wooded Foothills? I guess we have to use the Wooded Foothills to get a Stomping Ground because we have actual green spells we wish to play. And a non-Dasha Van. Okay. Are they holding up some sort of Fatal Push? Forest. Okay, now we can go get the Blood Crypt and not be worried about it. And I mean, we need 5 mana to do this, but we totally can. I mean, I'm pretty sure this Ragavan, because it's going to get left unchecked, because we don't have things. So, you know, we're not going to interact with that Ragavan, so that's going to really ramp him to the moon. You know, red, the color of ramp. Expressive Iteration, which leads me to believe this is just Shadow. All right, more dealing damage to themselves. Big old shadows. Yep, you just get to cast a 1/1 Shadow. Or do you Ragavan and see what you hit first? No, 1/1 Shadow. Cool. We know what they're doing, but yeah, we're not in the best spot. If we still had Goblin, we could probably give them a spook, but let's see what they steal. You know what? I'm kind of glad I didn't draw that. That's just more mana, and we're beyond mana at this point. Yeah, sure. We might as well crack before we forget. Blood Crypt. Tapped. Cool. They steal our Hierarch. Sure thing. They have all the mana in the world. We still have 1 turn on our Talisman. We find more lands. Good for us. So we're going to start getting hit for a lot. But next turn, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We just hard cast Culligan, can't we? Okay. I mean, if they're silly enough to deal themselves a little bit too much damage, if they get close to 6, we just kill them with Dragonlord Culligan, which is kind of funny. All right, Expressive Iteration, sure. I mean, the whole point is they have to deal themselves damage. Like, that's just how this deck works. So, I mean, dealing themselves 6 is a little unlikely, because they could probably deal themselves 3 with, yeah, fetching like that. They didn't even fetch. They dealt themselves 2. So how are they going to deal themselves more damage to kill us quicker? Thought Seize. Boo. Well, there goes Culligan. That probably means we have to burn an Ironcrag Feat to play Tarka, which is probably fine. I mean, it is a big 6/4, and it does deal 12 if it connects. So, yeah, they took the Culligan, which is correct. They're at 8. They swing at us for 7. We still get to get the Atarka down, right? Oh, no. Actually, wait. No, because we have a Force in hand. We can still get Atarka down. So they come screaming in. Hopefully they find Bupkis. They steal a Manamorphose, which, whatever. That's not on my list of things to worry about. I would greatly prefer for them to cast it. No, they're not gonna. Because, like, Drown in the Lock can still counter Ironcrag Feat, which kind of sucks. I mean, hopefully they just counter the Soul Talisman. Because they have Drown in the Locks, and they probably have about 2 in hand. Oh, no. Oh, that's different. How? I have roughly 4,000 mana. Please don't counter my spell. Please don't use that. Drown in the Lock in your hand. Brian is a mighty wizard and knows what his opponent plays. Farts. Okay, so we hope they get... Actually, no, because they can't get too... If they get too greedy, they just outright kill us. So they can just... boo. Boo, hiss, fart noises, thumbs down, don't like it, kill us. Okay, cool, next. Actually, maybe they don't see the attack button. Come on, just don't do it. I'm holding fog. I swear to God, boo. Okay. Boo, hiss. Boo, hiss, thumbs down. Okay, against Chateau. Is Defense Grid really where we want to be? You know, like, I feel like the Dismembers might not be a bad thing because they have the... Like, we don't want them to do, like, Ragavans or Dragon Rage Channelers unchecked. So if we get rid of a Mox Tantalite, we get rid of a Hellkite, we get rid of a Vessel, a Nuclear Vessel, and we just try and go faster than them when we hope that they don't keep a handful of 1,000 counters, because I feel like Defense Grid against a deck that has maybe 4 counters, probably like 3 is not the best move, but let's see how she runs. All right, we will take the play, and we have an opening hand of, again, nonsense doo-doo hand with one of the Dragon Lords. This hand does nothing for a long time, but it does have 2 answers to their early things. So we play a land, we suspend this, and then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 mana is not 7 mana for Atarka. I'm going to keep only because our opponent plays Hand Disruption. And I feel like our hand's going to get ripped apart anyway. So if we start mulling, trying to find something better, then we're probably, again, we're really helping the Thoughtseize deck. Because he plays like 3 Thoughtseize, 2 Inquisitions, or, give or take 1 or 2 of either of those. So, he's mulling to 6. We can only hope that he mulls lower. Nope. Only mulled the 1 time. All right, suspend the Lotus Bloom and yield. All right, looks like they do have a turn 1 play of some sort. It is a Hand Disruption spell. Their Hand Disruption spell. Yeah, they got to play it in the set. Okay. Looks like they have a Fatal Push, which, good for them. You can have a Fatal Push. Their Lotus Bloom. Okay, that makes us easier. And yield. We still have interaction with their stuff. We still have an Atarka we could just hard cast out if it comes to that. They just Dash Evan, we'll Lightning Bolt. Oh, nope, they're just gonna... They must have kept like a very counter-heavy hand. So they must have more counters than like the ones I was counting on. All right, we have 2 Black Lodi ticking down in the form of our Lotus Blooms. That is the worst thing we could have drawn. Actually, I suppose the worst thing we could have drawn was, what's its face, is the second Atarka, because then Dragonstorm just doesn't work. But you don't want to be ripping these dragons off the top. That you want them in your deck. Hopefully you guys can't hear my neighbors playing very loud movies. 8:14 on Tuesday. Let's watch all of the Transformers movies. There's a Raggy Man. There's a Blood Crypt. Sure. I don't understand why he's not dashing that thing. A Shadow. Well, now I gotta try and kill them both. So let's try and bolt the Ragavan. Does have a Spell Pierce? If he just has a Spell Pierce, that does also mean... Oh no, he's just gonna let it go. But to say, that does also mean we just get to, let's use target that. Kapow, kapow. I guess I'll have to pay a red so it doesn't get... Okay. Please counter this so I can just drop Culligan. And then Culligan, yeah, there's the Spell Pierce. So they wanted to keep the Shadow, which is fine. But we get a Lotus Bloom. And if we find another land, we don't even have to cash in our Desperate. We find Dragonstorm. I don't think we can. So 1, 2 turns into 3. And then 4, 5, 6. No, we can literally just Culligan, which is unfortunately where I... Actually, wait. Hold the phone. If we wait until next turn, we have a Lotus Bloom. And then we have 6, 7, 8, and Desperate Ritual is 9. But if they counter any of our things, then we die. And if we draw Atarka or Dragonlord, we die. I don't think they can deal us... Because they could just have Terminate, and then Dragonlord just dies, and also, like... Okay, you know what? The deck is called Dragonstorm. We're gonna see if we can Dragonstorm. We're gonna pass... And we're going to see if our opponent, if that was a mistake. Because, they could just have so many counters now. They can counter both the Lotus Bloom and the Dragonstorm. They can counter the Desperate Ritual, and then we're just sitting there, thingy in hand. I was going to swear, I chose not to. All right, so we get hit with a 4/4, sure. So if we find a land, that's actually preferable. Finding a land would be pretty good right now. Cast Lotus Bloom. Please don't counter Lotus Bloom. No! Rah! So we're just going to sit here and draw dragons, huh? Okay, cool. So we just cast Desperate. Please don't counter. Please don't counter. Yay! All right, Dragonstorm. There's only 2 dragons left in the deck. Mystical Dispute. Sure thing, boss. We still get 2 more copies of Dragonstorm. So let's get Dragonlord Culligan. And actually, this is still lethal. The Hellkite. And deal you 5. Okay, we Dragonstormed them. Look at that, game 2. We successfully Dragonstormed them. All right, going to game 3. We even drew most of our dragons. All right. As much temptation as there is to put in the Hellkite again after we proceeded to draw all of our things, I feel is wrong. I feel the Dismembers are still more correct. So let's just run it back, see if we win on the draw this time. Hey, remember that catchphrase of mine? My deck telling me to go fuck myself. This is the deck doing that. Mull. Okay. Guess we actually get rid of a Metamorphose, because what are the chances our opening hand doesn't get ripped apart, and then beyond that, what are the chances Goblin Arcanomaster, survives? Honestly, the best thing he could do right now is just play out Dragon Rage Channeler. Nope, we're certainly not doing that. Please don't have a Hand Disruption spell. Boo! Alright, so probably just take the Arcanomancer? Probably just the Goblin, right? Or you can take the Dragonstorm if you're super worried about that, but if you leave me with all my pieces and I find another Dragonstorm, which admittingly, not how the deck works, but, you know, if you are playing against combo, hand disruption is your best friend, because normally I need all of the pieces of my Rube Goldberg machine to win. Yep, they took the Goblin, which seems correct to me. I got a Bauble, because, you know, Bauble is a super fun card that should totally exist in Modern. All right, they know what we're drawing. We have no idea what we're drawing, and then we draw a Vessel of Vitality. Well, they know everything in our hands, so let's just do this so we can pass through. Stomping Ground, tapped, and be good. Okay. Watery Grave, dealing themselves damage, trying to get that shadow out. Funny how they're not getting any red mana. They're going very demure for the shadow deck, which these days... Okay, so they kept a hand that was super heavy on hand disruption, which again is correct. Now you take the Dragonstorm. Because our rituals are, like, I have 1,000 rituals. I have 4 Dragonstorms, soon to be 3. Yep. There we go. I'm not really playing like Goblin Dark Dwellers or anything like that to try and get it out of the bin. All right, so this is the last turn. A Lightning Bolt off the top will even kill a Death Shadow. Just a Gobbo. Just your friendly neighborhood Goblin boy. Well, we're actually just going to get a Forest because we need to not take 1,000 damage. So here comes Archeo Boy. I'd be surprised if he survives. If he does, and we even like draw Dragonstorm, can we even do that? So 1 into 3, 3 into 4, 4 into 5, 6, and now we can't. Leisure Shredder, sure thing. You have another hand disruption spell? Oh, you have another Death Shadow. That's not good. I'm screaming in. I guess that kind of shows how badly you need one of your 0 mana artifacts with this deck. Because, like, we're kind of dead next turn, hey. So if we find a Dismember, though, we can take 4 instead of 5 and kill a Death Shadow. Eh? All right, we draw a Verdant Catacombs. That does us no favors. So play out the Wessel. So 1 into 2, 2 into 4, 4 into 6, 7, 8. So here we are gonna Manamorphose. Yeah, sure, you get the Leisure Shredder, don't care. I mean, we're dead unless we happen to, like, luck into this right now. Let's go red-black in case we find Culligan. We find another Archeo. Every time I go red-black instead of red-green, we draw him. So, haha, I guess? I guess we take the damage, you know, the no fear here. By that, I mean, we have a chump blocker. All right, what do you got, opponent? Yeah, no, we're not attacking. Not a chance. I hit yield through turn for a reason. So we have a chump blocker, but we're still going to take 7, which means we are pretty dead. Expressive Iteration, so our opponent gets to go find the best card. This is really what Dragonstorm's missing. Because red and green really don't have a ton of selection. I mean, I guess we can put in Reckless Impulse. Like, would Reckless... Because, like, you'd have to Reckless Impulse the turn before you do stuff. Is that good? Is that okay? Because you Reckless Impulse to try and find something to do, but then you probably have to wait until next turn. I don't know. Let's maybe do some brewing after this match and see if Reckless Impulse can make that better. Because the guy who sent this to me, the Ian character, he mentioned like this was made like right before Modern Horizons 1 came out, so or like right after Modern Horizons 2 came out, so it might not have that ability. So we need to block one of the shadows. Block. Goblin, you've done your duty. And we super need to find Dragonstorm, which I don't even think we can cast. Nope. And we die. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can tune the deck a bit. Okay, so here we are with the deck, and Reckless Impulse, for those of you who don't know, is essentially just a 1 mana discounted light up the stage where you exile the top 2 cards until the next turn you can play those. Here's the problem with Reckless Impulse, though. It doesn't work with suspend stuff. You can't suspend it from exile. But I guess if we're Reckless Impulsing, we don't, like at that point in the game, like these are really there for like turn 1. At that point, I guess we don't mind not hitting one of our 0 drops. I think our 0 drops are in the correct amount. I think the Lightning Bolts are suspect. I think Ignoble Hierarch is even questionable. Everything else is kind of 100% needed. So why don't we do this? Why don't we get rid of the Lightning Bolts and put in 2 of these and see if that's a thing. Like, see if we draw them if we feel like they're better than the bolts. Also, I think I might give up on the old Dragon Claw here. I think I might like take out the Dragon Claws and put in 2 Ley Lines instead, because those are also good against burn. And also it stops hand disruption, so it's kind of a twofer. So let's try this instead and run a game and see if it works. All right, we actually win a die roll. Okay. We have a Reckless Impulse, but we have a Dragon Lord and just a bunch of mana. I don't think so. Let's try again. This seems infinitely better because we can even put the Hellkite back, and we have all the other pieces. So good mulliganing there. Brian just pats on back all day, as I'm sure we'll find another way to punt this. So put the dragon back because we want to storm that out, and play a mountain, play a Lotus Bloom, and yield through the turn, see how we can do. Verdant Catacombs into Bauble. This looks like another shadow deck, so I'm anticipating an Overgrown Tomb into a Thoughtseize, which is unfortunate. Thoughtseize decks really do just kind of stomp all over us. Blood Crypt, I mean, 6 of one, half dozen of another. Thoughtseize, Inquisition, yeah. There goes the Goblin, which is a problem because we kind of needed that. But then again, if we're playing against like Rakdos Scam or really any of the Ragavan decks, yeah, this deck is outclassed by Ragavan decks. Who would have thought? Opponent draws a card. We also get to draw a card. Well, or to give them some information because I would like to stop drawing lands and just pass. And again, we're now just waiting for Lotus Bloom to tick down. And if we are playing against the Rakdos deck, it's not like they're going to counter us, but they can just rip our hand to shreds. So let's see what their next land is. You know, the land they play so that they can dash in the Ragavan and steal what we need off the top of our deck. They have another Bauble because, of course, you need to have multiple Baubles in your opening hand. How else would you get the benefit of running the card that's just essentially air in your deck? Oh, are they land screwed? I guess I have to be slightly less dickish about it if they're land screwed. We draw. Come on. Desperate Ritual. So next turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then a whole... Okay, cool. So next turn, we win, unless they have another hand disruption spell and they just steal Dragonstorm. If they just steal Dragonstorm, then we're both sitting here doing nothing. Another's Mishra Bauble. Okay. I mean, do you just Mishra Bauble yourself at this point? This is where this deck really does well, when your opponent does nothing. Now, here's the thing. If you have a Magic deck that doesn't do well when your opponent does nothing, you should do a different Magic deck. No, they found a land. Okay, so it's Jund. It just feels like Jund. You have multiple hand disruption spells? Are you that kind of party, or are you just playing Tarmogoyf and that's it? Red, black, rocks. That sucks. So, it's just Jund Shadow. Get rid of the Desperate Ritual. I think we can still do it with the mana that we have. And we get a Lotus Bloom and hopefully draw a Ritual, which would be nice. Right? Just a casual Black Lotus. Okay, deck, sure. All right, so 6 down, 4, which is 2 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, we have more than enough. So we crack this for red. We go red and Iron Crag. Then one of those, and there we are. All right, we get one of each dragon. Dragon Lord Culligan, come on down. Atarka, World Render, you're coming too. Is our opponent scooping before I can finish my bit? Yep, they're finishing the game before I can finish the bit. Oh well. Hey, we won game 1. Look at that. Hey, look at us getting enough wins to make it worthwhile. So, Leyline of Sanctities, yes sir. Dismembers, especially now that we don't have Lightning Bolts. So, bringing in the Dismembers, taking out what? Now, we need to take out 5. So, we can take out the Mox Tanalite, take out one of the Ignoble Hierarchs, take out 2 Vessels of Vitality, and we're down to 1 thing to take out. We can take out 1 Hellkite, and I feel like that is what we're going to try here. This hand is not good. We don't have enough mana. We have a dragon in hand, so let's try again. Boy. So here's the thing, folks. I'm going to keep this because we're playing against a Thoughtseize deck, and yeah. You don't want to mulligan too much and do their job for it. Like, for example, here, Thoughtseize. Oh, Inquisition. So they take Lotus Bloom. We have 2 of our Dragonstorms, so now we're just hoping to find mana-producing things, or we can find a dragon. Funny joke. I think next game we do aggressively mull to either like a perfect hand or to the Leyline because they won't see it coming. Because right now I think they're just gonna like cast Tarmogoyf and just, yeah, beat us to death pretty quick if we're being honest. So we go get a Stomping Ground tapped, untap, we draw a... More lands! Good gravy, that's awful. Okay, so we pass. Unless we start drawing, like, Iron Crag feats and things like that, like, super quick, we're pretty donezoed here. I mean, this would be a good time to find Reckless Impulse and try and set up. Our Dismembers don't even work against Tarmogoyf anymore, which is kind of a shame, but you have to keep an eye on your graveyards before you try killing a Tarmogoyf based on how he work. Is this, Voidwalker? Oh, just a shadow, sure. You have 2 shadows? Is that why you did did that? Yeah, I have 2 shadows. Cool. So we're gonna die really quick. We got a blood crypt. Oh no, why? Like, I don't mind losing games, I really don't, but it's really hard to not feel a non-game when the shuffler in mid-go just goes land, 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 you know? We have so many things in our deck that aren't land, and we're finding so many of them. I even cut the lands down to, like, even if I was getting 0 mana artifacts, I'd be like, well, that's what I get for putting them in the deck. But no, I just get my teeth kicked in. Is there a world where anything we draw helps us? Probably not. I mean, we might as well draw to see what we do. Like, we're going to 1 off the Catacomb. Reverse, sure. There's gonna go to basic. All right, we go to 1. I mean, there's no draw that saves us, but let's see what we draw. Lotus Bloom. All right, well, so much for game 2. Let's just go straight to game 3. All right, I don't think there's anything else we want to do here. I think this is still the ideal hand against what we're up against, but if we could stop drawing the things we actively want in the deck and start drawing the things we actively want in our hand, that'd be great. Okay, thanks, bye! Alrighty, we get to go first arena. And, please don't draw a second Dragon Lord Culligan deck. Please don't. I know you want to. I know you want to. I know you want to so bad, but please don't. So really what we're looking for our opponent to do right now is to mull aggressively into... Nope, they started with 7. We wanted them to mull aggressively into hand disruption. But luckily for us, any hand disruption they have is now nullified. So now we're just looking for mana-producing effects. We have Reckless Impulse, hopefully to find some, or at the very least get the things that take multiple turns off the top of our deck, because our 0 mana artifacts are getting to the point where they don't actually help, because our opponent's too fast. All right, they traverse just for a basic. Sure thing. Yep, that's fine by me. Oh, this was bobble. Sure, why not? They bobble themselves. That's weird. I would have thought they would have done it, like, during my upkeep. Because I'm having the card now, or having it in the end of my turn shouldn't change anything. Okay, so... do we Reckless Impulse now, or do we wait until next turn? They're not doing anything, so I say we wait. This way, we can, like, play land off it and stuff like that. I mean, I'm hoping they just kept a hand that was heavy on things that have to target us. Alrighty. And what is this? Is Tarmogoyf? Sure. Ironcrag Feet. So let's Reckless Impulse. Find a mountain and a Hellkite. Well, I'm glad we're not wasting time drawing the Hellkite. We play the mountain and we pass. So next turn we go 1, 2, 3, 4. And we could just... I mean, if we find another ritual, we can Ironcrag into Dragon Lord. Or if we find some sort of mana, but what's this? Kroxa. Okay, now we have to decide right now what we're trying to do. And again, the deck's name is Dragonstorm. So we're gonna try and Dragonstorm. But we're starting to get hit pretty hard. Traverse. Oh, they can go get a shadow now. What do they get? Death Shadow. All right, so we want to draw a ritual right now. Like, right now. Good old Desperate Ritual is what we're looking for here. More lands! No. All right, so... 1, 2, 3, 4 turns into 7. 7 is not 9. So 7 is also not 8, which is what we need for Mr. Hellkite here. So what I think we do is I think we Manamorphose and we just dig. So red, black, Blood Crypt. All right. So no, and we're going to lose our dragon as well because we can only get to 7, not 8 mana. So our opponent's Tarmogoyf is now super big, but we have nothing to do and we just have to yield, which is unfortunate, especially when they're starting to get creatures down. So they have a very quick clock. We don't have... Well, I mean, I guess we technically have the win in hand. If we can technically survive long enough to play out both Blood Crypt and Forest, and then play Ironcrag Feet, and then Dragonstorm off of that, you know, we're actually pretty much in the clear question marky, but I feel like they're going to move quicker than that. Because here comes Tarmogoyf, we're down to 10. They play any other threat. Suddenly we're not quick enough. So how do you put yourself under 13? Put yourself to 13, that's a start. I mean, it's the same clock either way. Also, for those of you keeping count at home, oh, he's gonna Thoughtseize himself. Thoughtseize taking Thoughtseize? Yeah, Thoughtseize taking Thoughtseize. Lightning Bolts himself to play his shadow. That isn't any faster, is it? Manamorphose. So, okay, let's Manamorphose, see if we find anything cool. Red, black, in case we draw Culligan. We draw Verdant Catacombs. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like, it's not unthinkable that the guy deals himself another 2 damage. Unthinkable he deals himself another 5 damage. So we need him to draw dead anyway. So let's just play Blood Crypt tapped and pass the turn. If we survive, we can Dragonstorm. If we don't, then, well, we're playing Janking Modern now, aren't we? All right, if he goes straight into combat, we should be fine. Puts us to 2. Please don't have Street Wraith. All right, do you have anything else, or do we get to go off? And you have another Shadow, right? Might as well play it. And man, am I glad I put Leyline of Sanctity in this deck. We put Leyline of Sanctity in the deck. It immediately helped. So I think our opponent because if he was able to play Crocs, he would have gotten us too. Another Ironcrag feat, sure thing. So here's what happens. We play out of Forest. We go 1, 2, 3, 4. And we cast Ironcrag feat. So 7, 8, 9, and Dragonstorm. And we go get the 2 dragons. A dragon number 1 is Culligan. And a dragon number 2 is a Tarka. All right. How many direct kill spells do you have, opponent, to break my heart in your 2-card hand? Please don't have Terminate. Please don't have Terminate. What is this? Jund Charm. It's Riveter's Charm. Oh, what? He was just faking us out? He was faking us out, making us think he had Riveter's Charm? GG. GG. All right. And our double striking dragons get the work done. Sweet. We're 2-1? That's so weird. Let's go for one more. Why not? All right. We had a bit of a roll off, and don't you worry, we lost. Oh, but the hand almost makes up for it. Look at that. That is a slam keep. And we hope our opponent is doing some sort of slower than us combo. You know, they're playing Do Nothing Defender combo, right? They're trying to get down to that Arcady Sabbath and really show us what's for. Planes. Ooh, what's this? What? Is our opponent trying to out-jank us? Did somebody hear that there was jank on the menu? Oh no, we found Dragonlord. No, don't do that. Okay. Stop doing that, deck. Stop giving us our dragons. Start giving us more rituals. Anyway, did our opponents hear that we... What? We're about to get dumpstered by a Boros Exalted deck, aren't we? All right. Blood Crypt, tapped, draw, Ignoble Hierarch, sad, take more damage. Player, we have our own Exalted creature. Huh. I flipped my nose up at your Exalted creature. So, ooh, Ardu. Portable Hole. Well, I'm glad they're portable holing the Ignoble Hierarch and not the Lotus Bloom. All right, black and colorless for... What? Equip creature. Oh, so it's a 3/1 with menace, but it gets super big if they equip it, which they can like equip it next turn. Sure thing, boss. Verdant Catacombs. Might as well play Verdant Catacombs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we should have it next turn. We'll go ahead and pass. I mean, they could also like hand disrupt us. They do have the colors for it. Ooh, you hate to see it. Our opponent is playing some sort of budget, which I can dig, but at the same time, like, oh no. So we're gonna get hit for 8? No, 7. We're gonna get hit for 7. Oh no, only 5. Okay, that's fine by me. Fine by me, he says. Stomping Ground tapped. So our opponent is doing dirtily things, and they just weren't fast enough doing them. Because here comes Lotus Bloom down on the scene. And I do know everyone's saying like, oh, Lotus Bloom is the only one worth playing. But truth be told, like, all the other cards we're playing are pretty good too. So just having more Lotus Bloom-like effects, I feel is good enough. All right, so 4 into 7, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're cool. So red, green, Anamorphose first, actually. A red. Please don't draw. Oh, okay, cool. I was gonna say, please don't draw another dragon. Dragonstorm. Roar. Cool. So we get to go get a whole bunch of dragons. If our opponent doesn't scoop. Our opponent's doing a lot of thinking. I hope they're thinking about how cool that was. And not scooping before I get to do my thing. Also, I don't know what they could do at a 0 mana effect, but I think they might be reading into what I'm doing here, which, fair enough. Fun fact, Dragonstorm got into Modern via Time Spiral's Time Shifted card, so this shouldn't even be in Modern if you really stop and think about it. We're just kind of getting away with something here. Guys, I think I got some bad news. It's been a minute, quite literally, I think 3, and our opponent has no possible plays. They're tapped out, they're in Mardu. I don't think they possibly have anything for 0 mana, and they only have 1 card in their hand. And the reason why I'm saying I have bad news is I think what we're experiencing here is my opponent's halting. So I have to wait here to see if that's what they're doing. The good news is for you, I edit out when nonsense like this happens, so I'll be back to let you know if he either comes back or if he really did just salt off and we counted as a W. We did the thing. We did the thing. We Dragonstormed. But yeah, let's see if old mate comes back, or if he's taken the, all the flavors in the world and they chose salty. So let's give him another. I think Mikko gives him another 2 minutes before they just cut him off. So let's see what happens here. So they got about 17 minutes left, and I am wistful for the rope that people get in Magic Arena right now. Let me tell you, just sitting here wasting time. Actually, I think the saltiest thing they could do is during this, they could just like get the warning that they're about to time out, and then like let the triggers go on the stack, and then hit go. Like, I mean, they're staring at this too. So if there's any solace, that's that. And they finally lose the game due to inaction. A salty end to a salty player. Technically, that's 3-1 though. One's a salt off, and one is a guy punting it, a field goal. But hey, all right, everybody, we ended up 3-2. We lost a game against Mill that I opted not to show because nothing happened during it. I sat there, I didn't go off, they milled us out. It was kind of boring. But hey, 3-2 for this? For this? 3-2. That seems amazing for this. So yeah, no, I think this is so much fun. I think this is a fun little deck. Don't have this be your only modern deck. I think this very much goes in your third, fourth, fifth, modern deck category. It's something to play every now and then, but if you're just bringing this to, your local LGS every week, it's going to get real old real fast, trust me, because let's name the things real quick that destroy this. Any sort of hand disruption destroys this. Any sort of counterspells destroy this. Any sort of creature removal destroys this. There's so much that can go wrong. It doesn't protect itself at all. But when it does work, it is so ridiculously cool. So yeah, that is all for Dragonstorm. And for it's actually starting to get up a little bit. It's actually like 9% of people bother to stick around at the end to see all the cool things I pull out of my Magic collection to show you. So let's go find something cool real quick, because oh my god, there's 3 times as many people waiting to the end now. Welcome to the Black Void, and you know what, guys? I think it's a Magic Gray book kind of night. And I think what we're going to show off today is the first page of the Magic Gray book. That is right, ladies and gentlemen, my Underground Seas. So let me pull 2 of them out. I do have 4. I got these in around 2016, 2017, that sort of era. And the reason I want to show you guys 2 out of the 4 is because I have both Unlimited and Revised Underground Seas. I have 2 Unlimited and I have 2 Revised. At the time I was buying them, an Unlimited Underground Seas was only like $20 more than a Revised one, and I was just trying to find the cheapest ones I can get my hands on. I think the most I paid for an Underground Sea back in those days was around $180, maybe $190, but it wasn't more than that. So let's go ahead and first look at the Revised one, which is the one that you're probably going to see the most often when you're out and about. So you can tell it's revised as opposed to unlimited if you look here and you see the little tap symbol. And you can also tell the name at the bottom is more bottom oriented. And that becomes very apparent when you look at a unlimited Underground Sea. So an unlimited Underground Sea, the name is more in the middle and it doesn't say anything about a tap symbol. It just says tap to add. So if we look at them back to like right next to each other, you can see it probably at its absolute best, where you can tell that the name is more center on this one than this one. And you can tell this one here is more, or no, this one here, again, my right and my left confused, has a more bottom oriented name. Also, just the lack of the tap symbol is a bit of a giveaway. So if you have just random cards and you don't know if they're unlimited or revised, the easiest thing to do is to look at the bottom where it has the name. So let's just pull more examples of unlimited and revised. Let's do a little chat at the end of this video. So in one hand, I have a revised Wheel of Fortune, and in the other hand, I have an unlimited Time Vault. So again, if you look, the Time Vault, which is this guy here, the name is more in the center when you look at the name of the artist, as opposed to the Wheel of Fortune. So I don't know how many of you out there need to actively worry about the difference between revised and unlimited cards. You know, it's one of those things that's kind of rare when you look at it. But yeah, there was a lot of like weird sort of things going on with the different texts and the different, you know, fonts way back in the day. I mean, there's stuff in here I'll show you in the future that's you know, kind of on that level as well. Because here, if I just pull a random Legends card out of here, Immolation. So here we just have a random Legends card that's in here. I mean, it's in pretty decent shape. But again, you can even tell that the name on the bottom of that is in a completely different font than Revised or Unlimited, and it's a Legends card. So, you know, there's that. All right. So thank you guys very much for joining me on this really fun journey. Ian, thank you. If you're still watching, you know, leave a comment. This was really fun. Thanks for shipping it over. If you have a list you want me to take a look at, please send it to heydummyplaythis@gmail.com. That's heydummyplaythis@gmail.com. And yeah, I will catch you all next week with something. Haven't decided yet. All right. Have a good one now. Bye.